Interesting. That was a great progress that you have made so far. In the previous session, we were able to create user using these particular endpoints, and then we were able to create add hash their password as well. Right. In this session, we want to pause because there's a particular challenge that we had the other time when we wanted to include a password in the database model as a new column. What we did was that we were facing challenges. The table was not creating, the updated table was not creating, or we were not seeing the password column directly. So we had to go back to delete the entire database, and now when we run it again, the new model, the new database now follows, and password column was inside. But the risk of that is that when we have a very large data set and we have an app working, and then already there are clients inside, are we going to delete the entire database just because we want to add one column? That should not be the case, or that's not the appropriate way of doing that. So we should be updating the database without compromising or deleting any particular user in our tables. So what we want to do is that we are going to introduce or include a particular module that you downloaded so far, right? That will help us with making changes without deleting the entire table. That particular module is called the Alembic. So if you go to my requirement file, you can see it here. It's the very first thing over here, Alembic. That's what we downloaded, and it's in part of our requirement file. So what we will do basically is that we are going to include the module Alembic into the project officially. So how do we do that? You make sure that you have your environment variable activated or virtual environment activated, and you also make sure that you are at the root level, that's expense tracker level, before anything happens. Okay, now with that set, right, let me clean this. Let me delete this thing. I was making a change. Okay, so currently this is the state of our table right now. So what we are going to do is that I'm going to introduce or include Alembic init Alembic. So we are initializing the Alembic officially into the project at the root level. It should be at the expense tracker. So I'm there. Now it's done. After it is done, you can see that there are some things that are added. There is this one that will be alembic.ini will be added, and then let me close the app. And then there will be this Alembic folder that will be also be added automatically once you run that particular command. So this folder and this Alembic.ini, they will be added to your particular project. Okay, we will not worry about this Alembic.ini. Don't worry about it. We go to the Alembic file, Alembic folder. You open it up. When you open it up, there's another folder called versions, and there are some files inside, readme file, and then environment.py file that comes with Python file already automatically. Now the version file, the version folder, there's nothing inside. I'm trying to open, there's nothing inside. The purpose of the version file is to make sure that any change that you make at every point, it takes a snapshot or a screenshot of it and keep it as a version. Anytime you make a change, it's going to keep a version of it, a version of that change inside the versions file here, so that maybe you make a change, you make multiple changes, but then you want to go back to a previous change. Yes, you go back, you'll be able to navigate that just like how GitHub work. So versions will be keeping there. Right now we don't have any version, we don't have any change included in the Alembic. That's why nothing is here currently. Now environment.py, the env.py is going to help us to set up the environment in which the Alembic will be working. So we need to go here and make changes to this one. This is how we are going to set up. This is the main file in which we are going to set up everything. So env.py, yeah, it is pre-filled with some stuff, so we don't touch those stuff. I mean, especially the import, we don't touch those stuff. So follow keenly as what we are going to do. First, we need to import. So let me call this place my import. Yes. So the very first import will be about making the env file to point to recognize the entire part of the project. What do I mean by that? Currently, see, the Alembic file is here, the app is here, the environment variable and some files are here, right? But then this particular Alembic is not inside the app. This is where our app modules and things are. This is where things are happening. This is where we are inside this app. But then where we are going to do the setup is inside the Alembic, which is outside of the app. And then inside it there is env. So this environment variable can only recognize things that are the same level or in the same parent, in the same folder like itself. So this env is able to recognize versions, it's able to recognize readme, it's able to recognize script, but it cannot recognize those that are outside of its parent, like app, vem. So this is the parent. When I mean parent, is that folder in which it is contained. So the parent of the env file is the Alembic folder, right? The Alembic folder is at the same level as app, vem, but then env, where we are doing the setup, is inside of it. So we need to make sure that we include a path such a way that this env file is able to recognize all these guys beside it. So how do we do that? We go to yeah, this is where we are going to do the imports. The very first import is to import the system, import sys, right? We will use it to set the path. So here right now, you don't need to, you just know that this is the how to do the import to make sure that we include the path. This is the path. So sys dot path dot insert 0 comma, then string. The file should be a string, the path should be a string. So we are going to call it a path underscore underscore file underscore underscore dot resolve. The dot resolve is outside of the brackets of the file. After the resolve, you resolve the path, then you see dot parent. So we are resolving the path of the parent to include it. We are inserting it inside the env file so that it will recognize all that. After we insert it, now we continue with our imports. Now what we are going to import is, we are going to import the base file. See, the base file is inside the app. This is app, right? So the Alembic is like, this is going to travel, this is going to point to the parent, right? Now it's going to go to app. When you go to the inside the app, we are going to the DB modules. Inside the DB modules, there is a base that we imported. So we are going to steal that. Okay. So we are going to steal that particular module. So what we are going to do is that we are going to inside the app, right, and point to DB underscore module. So what we will do is inside the env file, we say from app.db modules import base. This is basically pointing to the right thing, right? We are doing app.modules, meaning that it is going to move into the app, and then when you enter the app.modules, basically that's what is happening. So yeah, we are importing the base. We need another thing, right? The database model, the database part. But the database part, our database part is inside the .env. Remember, it's inside the .env. It's over here. So we need it. We need it. So how do we need that? So we need that inside. We don't copy it directly. We need to use that through the .env. So we've done that already. Import os, and then also from .env import load env. Then right now, after that, then we need to load the content of the .env file here. Let's load it. You say load, then we put a bracket in front of it. That will load it. Now after everything is loaded, you scroll down, right? Then you go to, you see target metadata. So target metadata should be base dot metadata. Do you remember where we put metadata before? It is inside the main file at the top here. You see something like this, base dot metadata. So metadata was the one that it needs. So the .env file needs that. That's why we just include it over here. That's why we were importing the base here, right? That's why it was needed. Let me close too much space between the two. Okay, so let me comment this one to show you that this one is inserting the app path through its parent folder Alembic. Yeah, so that's what we are inserting here. That's what we did over there. So basically that one is done. Now where do we go to? Now look down here. We will need this sets a URL over here. We don't want it to use this particular URL again. We don't want it to use this URL. We need to use the one that will come from our database. We need the one that will come from our database, right? So we need to go to the top. Remember, it's just if on top of the functions. I'm not inside the functions, right? So this is the function def run. So you go outside of it, you go on top of it, just before it. You need to put the function. That's where we are going to load our database models. So the very first thing to do is to create a variable, and that variable, let me call it db underscore URL equals to os.getEnv. Remember how we got letEnv into bracket database underscore URL. This database underscore URL is from the name is from our .env file. See the .env file database URL. This one, how we did it before, we are doing the same thing. So that's what we just loaded over here, because we want to hard code it inside. Now the next thing is that you need to go here, copy this line. Don't copy the variable along, don't copy the name of the variable, just come put it here, Control V. And now there is config.get main URL. That's what we copied. But right now, remove the get g and put set. We want to set the main option, comma, after the main option inside the bracket SQLAlchemy. Don't clean it, do comma db URL. The db URL is the variable that we just put over here, so you put it here. So this is going to set and make the configuration to focus on our database as the main option. That's what's going to happen. So we don't need this thing again over here. We don't need to use this URL. We don't need it. So we need to clean it here and put our database URL here. So we do database URL, the one we did. Yeah, that becomes the main thing. After that, you are ready. You are ready. You are ready. So now let's go outside this file. Now, so this is set. Okay. So there's going to be, let's try to make a change in the database now. So database model, this is the original model that we have password, right? I want to add another column called phone number equals to column string. So let me label this, let me comment this as this is a fresh column. We don't want it to come and delete anything in the database. So this is the database. We want to keep G9 and all that and the password, but we just want a column to be added, basically. So we don't need to delete like how we did before. We just want this phone number column to be added and contain strings. So now that we are done with that, and then we have updated the column, we are going to do this. We are going to say create. We are going to create a new Alembic. First, we say Alembic. We want to do revision. Basically, we want to do revision. Then during the revision, we want you to auto generate the changes and integrate it into the table automatically. So auto generate. You have to include -m. M is mean that we are going to leave a message here. So the message is the message that you want to. So added phone number. So I added a phone number column basically. So Alembic, we are doing a revision. By doing the revision, please do auto generate, compare the column and do the right things for us. So let me enter this. Yeah, so there's an error. The error that we have is that no module name database like that, right? Database. So it is, where is it located? It is pointing at, see the part here, they say line 2 of app dbmodels.py. So we need to go to our dbmodels.py and say at line 2 dbmodel.py at line 2. This is line 2. Inside the line 2 there is no, see, it's not recognizing this app database because you see Alembic is outside. Alembic is outside of it. So what is happening is that you need to make sure that you need to know your that we need to include the full part app.database. We needed to do app.database so that the Alembic will know that okay, it is inside, it's from app the database of the app inside. So if I open this, you see that the Alembic is from here, right? It is coming here, point it to the app dot, then you come down and look at the database. So just like how we enter, first we did db mode, but then app.database. Basically, we need to include that. So that's the updates that we are doing here. So it should be like app.database so that everything is well resolved. Okay, so if that is resolved, let's run the same revision again. So you just click on top arrow to run stuff. Yeah, it is successfully done. It is successfully done, right? It is done. So what will we do with that? Let me go to my Alembic revisions now. If you open the revisions now, you should be able to see a file there, and the file is saying added a phone number at the end. So there's a revision version, right? Now we have created a revision, or we have created a particular change. We have made a particular change, but currently our system is not pointing to that. Our system is not pointing to that. If you go to the database and you refresh, you are going to see that we are going to have the same thing. The changes have not been implemented because at this level we are still keeping what we know, like what we have currently. Whenever you make a new change and a new version is created through the message, the revision and everything, Alembic is going to create a version and keep it there, and that the newest version is going to be tagged as the head. The newest version is going to be known as head version. So any new change, if you want to see the newest change, you need to finally now point to that newest version. You need to finally point to that newest version, and I say the newest version is called the head. So we need to upgrade the system from current level, what we are right now, to the top level, to the head level, or the newest version. So we say Alembic upgrade head, meaning we are upgrading to the head version. So if we upgrade, you see it's successful now. So now let's go back to our database, refresh. Yeah, so you can see that it has been added phone number, character varying. So now it's now because yeah, these things were here. So at the beginning you just do this. So this is where when you make this particular change to your column or to your database, and this way maybe in the front end, or you have an app, you can tell your users that okay, now they have a feature that they can add a phone number to their particular app and do whatever they want to do, right? Because you have added a new column. So all those people will now be able to add phone number, and then the phone number will be making changes accordingly and be showing in this particular portion, right? Let me go again and then make another change. Like for example, I'm going to add age equals to column string. No, the age cannot be a string, right? It should be an integer. It should be a number, it should be an integer. So I'm adding an integer. So what I will do is that I will go again and say, so I've made a new change, right? I'm going to run a revision again. Should I run all this in again? Let me just type it again for you. Let me close this. Alembic revision auto generate -m. The message is added age column. That's just my simple message. Now just run it. Yeah, it has been created, right? Let me clear this so that it will push up. Now it has been created now, so but I need to point to the newest version because I just made a new migration or a new version, right? So I will say Alembic upgrade to the head, meaning to the newest version. Now go to the database, refresh the table, then you can see age has been added. Age has been added. So phone number and age has been added. Then this is how we make changes without deleting the entire table. Sometimes you have made a change, you have added age, you have added phone number, but maybe you like just to add the age. You want to remove the age, right? So what you do is that you have to downgrade. You can downgrade. You can say Alembic downgrade, meaning you are going to the previous version. -1, meaning we are going to the previous version. If I do that and I accept that, so you can see we are going to the previous version, going to the table, and then refresh this. Now phone number, age is gone, only phone number is left, right? You can do the same thing for all these things. Let me go into upgrade again to the newest version. Upgrade No, it's Alembic upgrade head. You downgrade to come down, to upgrade to go to the top. That's the head. So what do? I now run this. I have age now. So phone number and age has been added without me compromising the entire database, basically. Yes, so this is what we have currently. This is how to run our Alembic. So anytime we have a table and then we are able to, we are making new changes to a particular table, especially adding columns or changing the data types, we'll be using Alembic now so that we don't change the entire table before doing our change. Yeah, basically that's what we have covered now. So if you meet any challenge on the way, kindly put it in the comment section so that we address it. Currently, this is how to set your Alembic into the system, and then we are getting closer and closer. See you in the next session.